Welcome back to Primetime News. A special welcome again if you're on onespotmedia.com.
A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the word Spot and Media.
Amidst outcry from many Jamaicans, the government has announced a reduction in property tax rates.
Finance Minister Audley Shaw outlined the rollback in Parliament today, saying that the government would give up $2.1 billion in revenues. TVJ's Andrea Chisholm was in Gordon House and filed this report.
Since the new property tax regime was announced on March 9, almost every sector was speaking out in protest. A little over a month later, a victory of sorts. It's still based on valuations done in 2013, but the rates have fallen.
We have introduced a progressive tax regime with 8 bands ranging from a low of 0.5% to a high of 0.9%. We have retained the flat $1,000 tax on all properties valued up to $400,000. This will benefit 110,303 persons.
So if a property values $1 million, for example, the property tax rate will only apply to $600,000 of the amount. The first $400,000 will be subject to the flat tax. So how does the property tax regime announced during the budget compare to this latest announcement?
With the new rates, the average increase in taxes for residential properties will now be 10% compared with the taxes last year instead of the 60% as was announced before. For commercial properties, the average increase will be 58% compared with taxes last year, down from the 137% average increase that we had announced at the time of the budget.
For agriculture, the average increase is now 40%. But that was not enough for the opposition.
The taxes we're suffering now are born in sin and shapen in iniquity.
Property taxes, Mr. Speaker, have nothing to do with the 1.5 million threshold.
Audley Shaw argued that the government was being honest by implementing the new valuations, something the PNP administration failed to do.
It would have been unfair and burdensome and oppressive, which is why we did not implement it.
Not only did the then government not have the courage to implement the new land valuation, but we recently discovered that they also gazetted the new property tax rate without securing parliamentary approval of the new schedule.
Parliament therefore passed a law indemnifying the government against liability arising from property taxes that were collected from 2013. In the meantime, Peter Bunting, who was selected to speak for the opposition, called for public education and consultation on the new property tax regime. He also wants Parliament's Committee on Taxation to make an assessment.
At the end of the day, this Parliament should be presented with documentation that would give members a solid understanding of the economic consequences and the real burden of this taxation on different social and economic groups. And Mr. Speaker, those reports must be given to us before we vote on the new taxes.
But since the government had the majority in the House, the new property tax rates were passed, retroactive to April 1. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.